Hello everyone. I'm going to go over some extra questions for chapter 3. Now let's take a look at the first example here. Alright, an investor D opens a brokerage account and buy 300 shares of the company Internet Dreams at $40 per share. She borrowed $4,000 and the interest rate on the loan is 8%. So the first question is, what is her initial margin? Alright, so initially she let me use the pen here. So initially she invested $12,000 because she bought 300 shares and the price per share is $40. So the total value of stock she invested initially was $12,000. Now, out of $12,000, she borrowed $4,000. So therefore, her equity, which is her own money, is $8,000. So initially, the margin is equal to the percentage margin is equal to equity, which is her own money, divided by stock. So equal to 8,000 divided by the value of stock at that time, which is $12,000, and the answer is equal to 66.67%. Now, second question. If the price drops to $30 per share by the end of the year, what is the remaining margin in her account? And if the maintenance margin is 30%, when she receive a margin call? So when the price equal to $30, okay, let's draw a T account again. So the stock value at that time would be equal to 300 shares times $30 per share and equal to $9,000. Okay, so value of stock at that time was $9,000. Now at the end of the year, the amount of money she borrowed would be equal to 4,000 times 1 plus the interest rate, which is 8%, so equal to 4320. Okay, initially she borrowed $4,000, but because the interest rate is 8%, so after 1 year, the amount of money she borrowed would be 4,000 times 108, which is 4320. 4320 is both principal and the interest that she has to pay to the broker. So obviously, if the value of stock is 9,000 and 4320 is how much she borrowed, so the value of equity basically equal to 9,000 minus 4320, and this is equal to 4680. Okay, so her equity has gone down from 8,000 to 4680. So her margin at this time would be equal to equity, which is 4680 divided by stock, which is 9,000, equal to 52%. Now the maintenance margin is 30%, and the actual margin at this time is 52%, which is higher than the maintenance level. So what it means is there will be no margin call for the investor. Okay, as long as the actual margin is above the maintenance margin, the investor will not receive any margin call. Okay, and finally, what is the rate of return on her investment? So initially she at time 0, okay, at the beginning she invested $8,000 of her own money, and at the end of the year, her own money ended up as 4680. So obviously the return would be equal to the ending balance, okay, 4680 minus beginning 8,000 divided by beginning, which is 8,000, and the answer is equal to negative 41.5%. So over the year, okay, she lost 41.5% of her own money. Okay. Now second question about short sale. Okay, the company opened an account to short sell 1,000 shares of Internet Dreams. Um, at the initial margin requirement was 50%. Okay, and a year later the price has risen from 40 to 50, and the stock has paid a dividend of $2 per share. Now, so what is a short sale? Short sale basically investor borrow stock to sell. All right. So at the beginning, the investor borrow 1,000 shares of stock at the and one share at the time was valued $40. So initially the amount of money, initially the investor borrowed 1,000 shares and value at that time $40,000. Now, immediately after the investor borrow 1,000 shares, the investor will sell stock to the market at the price $40. Okay, so the investor will have a sale of 1,000 shares times $40 at that time equal to $40,000. Okay, now in order for the investor to borrow 1,000 shares over here, investor has to deposit, and the amount of money the investor has to deposit will be based on the initial margin. If the initial margin is 50%, what it means is investor will have to deposit 50% of the initial investment, which is $40,000. Okay, so the investor deposits 50% times 40,000 equal to 20,000. So okay, so that is investor equity at the beginning, $20,000. Okay, now at the end of the year, the amount of sale remains the same because the investor already sold stock. Okay, $40,000. Now deposit still the same because that is how much investor deposited at the beginning of the year. So at the end of the year, the total amount of money is $60,000 in the account, which is the same as at the beginning. Okay, $60,000. However, what will change is the amount of money the investor borrow. Now, at the beginning of the year, investor borrow 1,000 shares and one share value at 40. So the amount of money investor borrow was $40,000. But at the end of the year, the price went up. Okay, the price is not $40 anymore. It went up to $50. So the amount of money investor borrow at the end of the year would be 1,000 shares times 50 and equal $50,000. Now, because the investor borrows stock, so investor has to pay dividend to the to the people who lend stock to the short seller. Okay, so if the company pays $2 dividend, the short seller will have to pay $2 dividend. Okay, so $2 dividend for 1,000 shares would be $2,000. Okay, so the total amount of money in the account is 60,000. Out of 60,000, the investor borrowed 50,000. Investor had to pay $2,000 dividend. So the equity in the account is only 8,000. Okay, so to make sure that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Alright, so the margin at the end of the year is equal to equity divided by stock. Equity now is $8,000. Stock at this time is 50. Okay, which is 50 right here. So equal to 8,000 divided by 50,000 equal to 16%. So obviously 16% is smaller than the maintenance margin, which is 30%. Okay, the maintenance margin is 30%. So yes, the investor will receive a margin call to put more money. Okay, so when investor receive a margin call, the investor will have to deposit more equity, okay, increase deposit and increase equity to make sure that the margin now will be equal to 30%. Okay, what is the rate of return on her investment? At the beginning of the year, the investor, okay, put down $20,000. At the end of the year, she had only 8,000, so her return is 8,000 minus 20 divided by 20 and equal to negative 60%. Okay, so she lost 60% on her investment. Okay, so because those questions may not be in the problem set, so I'm making a video lecture separately for them. If you have any question, feel free to let me know. Okay, thank you.